Hi, this is Kunal from Nodal. One of the key motivations for us for building this, and we experienced this in our own business, the property management business that we had for many years, is that most of the solutions that we had for managing our properties had a few problems. One is, they were either too expensive or they were very hard to use. They didn't really integrate with systems, and a lot of them weren't cloud based. I mean, a lot of things are changing, and I think the ease of use still hasn't. It's considered to be a B2B software, and generally people think that the B2B user has a lot of tolerance for ambiguity and not having a great experience. So we wanted to change that, and one of the key things we did when building Nodal was having users at the center and heart of it all. And as you can see from the onboarding process itself, which we've tried to make as easy as possible. So you go here. All you need to do is provide basic information. And you could complete the onboarding process on ideally on a laptop. You could also do it on a mobile phone. So the minute you start the process, it's relatively straightforward. The only information you need is basic information related to your property, stuff that you would probably already know. So it's not you don't need a specialist. I think one of my experience when setting up PMS system, you needed to have a specialist. Call us or do that, and set up a time with us. That's actually a waste of time. And you should be able to get up and running as soon as possible. Of course, there may be things that you may have to change later on. So I'll just show you. Let's say if I'm running a hostel, and this is just so of course you would need basic information like the currency that you want to bill people in, and if you have a phone number which is different for your property, you can fill that in. Yeah. So, and also if there is and this is different from your own email. So if the property has, let's say, reservations at myhostel.com. So if the property has its own email address, you can actually put that. And then these things, I mean, if you want to fill them in, if you have specific check-in, check-out hours, you can, or you can just skip it as well. And the great part about the whole process is that, so let's say financial information, so especially for GST and VAT numbers, you might want to fill this in right now, or you can even skip it. Like when you skip it, but you won't obviously get these numbers on your invoices that you're giving to your guests and your residents. So this can be skipped right now. I'll just skip it. Again, marketing information. One of the key things is remarketing. So we do a lot of remarketing using the platform. People get links when they can actually reach back. But again, we can skip this right now. We can probably do it in the next step. Property manager, if you've got multiple people using, you would want to have different email or logins for them, especially because there's a lot of financial information that's stored here. So we would want to know, let's say somebody made an expense, somebody took a booking, received cash or paid out cash, who actually did that. So everybody, from a financial perspective, everybody should have their own separate email, should have their own logins. So I can actually create a user here, add their email address, and then they would get a notification to actually start using your property. But we can skip this. Let's assume that you don't have that right now. And the last step essentially is creating a room. So you would have to create at least one room or one apartment. Generically, we call it a room. It could be an apartment, could be a unit, could be a house, could be anything. So let's say it's a single room. The room name, I just want to give it, green. Whatever you want to upload an image of the room, you can do that as well. Number of units is set to 1. Standard occupancy, let's say, is 3 people. Maximum occupancy is 4. Room rate, minimum room rate. So of course we've got some checks and balances that you can't go below a certain rate. So let's say it's whatever, 2,000 rupees a day. Extra occupancies, that's if you exceeded the standard occupancy, you would have to pay. So let's say it's 500, and you can create the room. So right, what happened here was the room has been created, and of course you can change all of that once you go into your settings. I mean, everything is changeable, and you activate the property and go to nodal PMS. So that's it. I mean, it took me about a few minutes to do that. So of course you've got no occupancy, number of units 30 days. That's more like, you know, room units that are empty, because that's the number of days left in the month. Nothing in services, nothing in app, there's no cash flows, anything. It's completely an empty dashboard. Nothing to report here. Click and book your first guest or tenant. It's relatively easy. All you need to do is create a booking, and that's it. I mean, you can create a booking, it'll input. So that's the end of the onboarding process. The onboarding process was very, very straightforward. What you can even do is, right after the onboarding, start taking bookings, and then incrementally keep adding information like GST, company information. If you want to add property products, let's say taxi, food, etc. So you can do that as phase 2, as and how, you know, you start scaling up and start using the system. But to get started, it'll take you less than 3 minutes. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to get in touch with anyone. It's anyway free for the first couple of months, the system, so you can start using it. If it works out for you, great. You can continue your journey, get in touch with us. If it doesn't, let us know what you didn't find, what you found missing. We've given it a lot of thought, but we may have missed something. So anyway, that's it from my side, and thanks a lot for hearing me out. Thanks, Kunal.